Kaboom! Guess who stepped in the room? It's the morning crew, and we are going to give it to you. My name is Robert Antoinette, and I am your host. And I have some of the brightest and the best stars in all of the land. Social media influencers and thought leaders, I have them with me right now. And today we were going to talk about getting paid on stage. I know that will be of a major interest to you, but I got to let y'all know who's in the building with me. I've got the lovely Taria Vision Avant on my side. What's happening, Taria? Also, I have got the sexy, curvaceous, I might get it right one day, but right now I just call her Candace Woodruff by my side. How are you, Candace?
I'm amazing.
And last but certainly not least, I call him Silky Smooth, but you all know him as Velton Shaw. What's going on, Velton?
Hey, what's up, my brother?
Man, it seems like it has been forever since I have seen you guys, and I'm so happy that we are here again. The last time I saw you guys, I saw you on social media. I saw Candace doing a workshop. I saw Velton in the airport, and I saw Taria on stage. I mean, doing the doggone thing. I mean, y'all didn't call me for any of those things. Not one time. So really, I mean, tell us a little bit about what's been going on in your world, Silky Smooth.
Hey, man, just trying to make it do what it do. Moving a
Yes,
little
sir.
bit, running around, and trying to share my message with the world as much as I can. So it's been great. The year's
Absolutely.
coming to an end, and looking forward to 2020.
Awesome. And you're still in Jersey right now?
Still in Jersey right now. Yeah, actually going up to New Brunswick, North Jersey this weekend, speaking at an event up there, and then I'll be back down south and headed down to DC hopefully next week.
Look at God. Well, make sure you holler at a brother once you come into the
I
DMV
will.
area. I know you're usually in Florida, so make sure that you got a coat. I don't know if they sent you the email or the memo, but it's cold right now, and it's going to get colder if you're here on the East Coast in the northeastern quadrant of the country. So make sure you got your coat so that you dress warm, sir.
Man, I got to buy some flannels while I'm up here. Coats are
There you go, brother.
enough. I got to get something close to the skin.
Speaking of close to the skin, brown skin Candace Woodruff, what is going on in your world, sister? I haven't seen you in so long.
I know life is good, but I'll be there actually, Robert. When is that? Next month. It's going to be great. So I'm going to do a workshop right there in your town. So that means you have to come in Washington,
Awesome.
D.C. I'll be there.
I shall be there front and center, sister. Well, Velton, I know you announced that you were coming in town, and Candace, you announced that you were coming in town. Taria,
Here comes the shade.
I don't understand how you came into my city, and stayed here for 3 days and never even announced it. I gotta find out on social media that you standing right next to the Capitol. I gotta find out you standing next to the monument. Like,
You know
what's
what?
going on?
It's so funny to me because I could have sworn you liked the picture when it showed that I was going to be in DC at this incredible event. I could have sworn you liked it, but my bad. You know what? I'm gonna make sure though. The next time, in fact, if I come to Baltimore, DC, or Virginia, I'm gonna make sure that you are let known that I'm in the city or I'm nearby, so you can pull on up. Okay.
That's all I'm asking. And see, since you're over there in the kitchen, I might invite you over. I might do some chili for you. I mean, I can burn a little bit in the kitchen. But just let a brother know that she's coming through so we can show you some hospitality.
I'm in on that one.
Yeah, let me get some of that. Robert, since you're offering to cook, make sure that when I come, I need some great African American museum tickets. I need to go there if you don't mind. Let me
How does
get some of that.
with cooking? But that's a good one.
Yes,
Just throw that on in there. Add it to the list. Okay.
Hey,
You said to make
ma'am.
sure we let it be known that we were coming, and I have requests when I come.
Absolutely, I got it. Well, I will also send a car service for you as well. It may be a Ford Escort, but it will be a car service nonetheless. I want you to have the best of the best, sis. But listen, y'all, on all seriousness, Taria Vision Avant, the program that you are part of, shout out to my sister, Cheryl Wood, who's also from the DMV area.
Absolutely.
SpeakerCon was her first time event, of that magnitude, and I saw so many amazing people. So since you were front and center, and y'all need to know she was on stage too, tell us a little bit about that event and what it was for you to actually be in the building, presenting and being around so much greatness.
Well, let me tell you, I mean, our guest speaker that we had on the show, to know that I actually touched the same area, like I made sure to put my feet where he put his feet, to know that I was blessed to be able to be in that position to speak on that stage. It was a huge honor. You know, I've been on this grind for a very, very long time before I was ever offered an opportunity to be on somebody else's stage. And so for me, it's just showing what hard work can do, and to be able to be blessed to listen and hear amongst these, I mean, incredible leaders, incredible speakers at SpeakerCon. It was a huge blessing. And so I'm looking forward to being there. A squad with me to DC. We cannot wait to go back. And we got other stuff coming up too. So I'm just forever grateful for anybody that just offers me the opportunity, even for you guys inviting me to be a part of this. It's just a humbling experience. And I can't wait for 2020 for sure.
Ooh, wait, did you hear that Silky Smooth? She likes us right now. Wait till she get into month number 2. If I gotta show up with these jokers one more time.
I'm pretty patient. I love y'all. I love everybody's energy. So we're gonna do what it do up in here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, well, if you guys remember, again, shout out to my sister Cheryl Wood. We were talking about a poll question that we asked earlier in the year. And the poll question was, you know, just to refresh everybody's memory, you know, what do you want to do differently to show up and blow up in 2020? And most people said overwhelmingly they want to be on more stages. And we kind of went off into a segue, and we talked about Tyler Perry, who magnificently said at the BET Honors that, you know, instead of waiting to be on somebody's stage, build your own stage, make your own platform, you know, so that you have your own voice. But speaking to that, then we had Cheryl Wood on right after that, right? She gave us some cool tips about individuals who are looking to absolutely be on stage. And one of the greatest nuggets that I remember taking from her, though, was that he said that every time you show up on stage, you're not always going to be paid. Think about that one. Every time that you show up on stage does not mean that you're going to get a check, right? And I know that's offensive for some of us who are just looking to get into the industry, some of us who are established in the industry. But what I know is that if you have a great message, and if your platform and your messaging is strong, wherever you show up, that's a platform. So I know, speaking to what you said a little bit earlier, you're just looking to put your message out there to the masses. And I'm sure that when you speak at churches, sometimes at the schools, it's not always for a paycheck, but there are other auxiliary things that you can do as a benefit to having the opportunity to speak.
Well, you know, it's interesting, Robert, because nothing is free. People say, oh, you're speaking for free. No, I'm not speaking for free, because if I don't speak, there's no advertising. And sometimes just speaking, even though you're not getting a monetary check, the advertising, the promotion, the message that you're delivering to people who are in the audience that you don't even know. Somebody might be sitting in the back row looking for a dynamic individual who can bring the message, and they're just waiting to write a check to the right person. And that person could be you. But if you don't speak, they'll never see you.
Right. And I know for sure, as we talk about showing up on stage, getting paid to be on stage, actually one of our guests, we'll get to that a little bit later, is probably the best speaker that I know, that I've actually touched his hand, y'all. I've actually had an opportunity to talk with him, and every time he opens his mouth, I got my pen and paper, so he is my own ear button. So when we get to him, we'll talk about it. But showing up on stage is certainly one of the biggest ways to get your messaging out to the masses. And I know that, Candace, you're doing like these workshops and making sure that you pass out financial advice. But I don't know if you're ready to grace us on stage one more again, the way you did back in February, I believe it was. That was the first time that we met. And you were certainly doing some big things then. And I'm just so proud of what you've done since then to continue your messaging wherever your platform is, whether you're in your car, actually on stage, or wherever you are. You have definitely maximized every single minute that you have in front of a camera. So I just want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. And if you want to give a little blurb to the masses right now. Why don't you tell them about your journey and how you have absolutely showed up, blowed up, and done big, big things? You don't want to talk to me right now? Well, listen, we have this show. It is LIVE, and everything is live, live, live. Oh, you do want to talk to me? Okay, well, sometimes you just need to make up your mind and let me know if you want to talk to me or you don't want to talk to me, because
What's that?
I just want to pay you a compliment and have you speak to people and tell them about your journey and how important it is to show up and how you're blowing up and doing the things you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So thank you, Robert, for sure, because I believe when I first met you, that was one of the first times I had ever been, I'll say, on a massive stage. It's interesting because it's different to speak. It's different presentations and different ways of presenting whenever you're speaking to smaller audiences or doing workshops. It's totally different than being on stage. So when we first met, that was one of my first events. And it was interesting because I told you on stage that I said, I'm sorry because you spoke last night impromptu because I said no. And it's so interesting that now we're here after all of that, right? But in that moment, and what I'll say is that always be prepared. What they say, if you always stay ready, you don't have to get ready. But I would also say, just make sure that you're ready to show up in your own rescue. I'll say that because sometimes we pray and we're there and we're praying for these major things to happen, and then when God presents those things to us, we don't take that leap of faith or we don't take the step forward. So I just say take the leap. Go out and do it. I'm not saying go quit your job now. I'm not saying that. But I am saying do the let's be clear, all right? I am saying go and do those things that you desire to do. And even if you don't feel as prepared, it's okay. You have to be bad before you're good and good before you're great.
Hello.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, y'all. We have been so interested in making sure that we share opportunities for you to know and grow as a speaker on stage. There's so many platforms that are out there, so many vehicles to help you get to where you need to be. But here on the Black CEO Morning Show, we want to encourage you to perfect your craft. To Candace's point, you want to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, because you never know when, you never know where that opportunity will happen for you to share your message. One thing that I know for sure, the fastest way to get your message out is through social media, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're just screaming and yelling inside of a bubble. The only way to get your message out is through social media. So choose your venue wisely, choose your platform wisely, but your message will allow you to show up and blow up. Well, y'all know me, I'm the host, but I'm also the driver, so we want to take this thing on out the garage. And before we get it on the road, y'all, we got to give y'all some announcements. So, my brother, Velton Shaw, Silky Smooth, can you tell the people what are our announcements for the Black CEO Morning Show?
Absolutely, absolutely. Good morning again, Black CEO Morning Show. This is Velton Shaw, your chief strategist. And we're talking about getting ready for 2020. We're talking about preparing for the rest of your life and the rest of your movement. So here's the thing. Shay Brown has an event that he is planning. It's called the Closed Conference. It's December 5 and 6. And it's just that. It is not only the culmination of 2019, but it's the preparation for 2020 and beyond. The question is, are you going to be in the place and ready to go? Because December 5th and 6th in Atlanta, Georgia, the closed conference is taking shape. Go on over to the feed, Black CEO, and take a look. We got one of our hosts and our guest stars. They got their picture firmly displayed, and that's Taria Avant. She's up there. She's just smiling and ready to tell you all about the conference that's coming up. Now, here's the second announcement. You see the graphic design for the conference? If you join the graphics club, that's right, the Black CEO Graphics Club, your graphics can be just as dynamic, just as powerful, and just as vividly colorful to take your message from good to great. But you got to take the first step. The advertisements in the feed, go over and look for Black CEO Graphics Club. Now, you can join the Graphics Club for $1. $1. That's right. Once you join, they'll let you stay a member of the Graphics Club for 30 days for $1. After that, there is a fee, But I will tell you from experience, knowledge, and that's the firsthand thing, that it's worth every penny of it. A penny of preparation is worth a pound of performance, but you got to take the first step. That's your announcements for today. Back over to you, Robert.
Whoop, whoop. I thank you so very much. And I encourage you, Black CEOs out there, to please take advantage of every single tool and resource being offered to you by the Black CEO Tribe. The Graphics Club is there. There's a book club that's there. There's a women's club. There's an entrepreneurs club. There's so many things that can be of value to you to help you with your movement as you progress as the Black CEO that God designed you to be. So please take advantage of it. And I thank you so much, Silky Smooth, for sharing the announcements with the people. So as we move along, y'all, I want to keep y'all healthy, wealthy, and wise. So for the wealthy part, I want to tell you somebody who's going to bring you our wealth minute. Nobody else can do it like Candace. Would you please share us with your wealth minute?
Hey, rich friends, Candace here, your revenue growth strategist, showing you how to grow your revenue without using your labor. And this is your Black CEO Wealth Minute. I'm super excited to be sharing with you because the last time we talked, I told you that, well, you should be the goose in your life, right? You should be the goose that lays the golden eggs, which is amazing. So with that whole concept, I was teaching a class not long ago, and I asked the class, I said, what is your number one asset? And they said, well, my car, my house, and then this young gentleman, he was like, well, Candace, I feel as if I am my number one asset in my life. And I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. You are your number one asset, and your ability to produce income is your number one asset. So with that in mind, remember the goose and golden eggs, right? Well, the cars, the homes, and all those things are the golden eggs in your life, and you are the goose. So you should make sure that you're insured, right? And I said, well, what is your economic value? Because you want to make sure that you're insured and that your economic value is insured. And they was like, economic value? They looked at me funny, and I laughed. I said, well, let me give you the definition of economic value. Your economic value is calculated, if you do this formula, it's your annual or yearly income times the number of years that you have remaining to work. So let's say you were working a job, you never got a raise. Let's say you made $35,000 per year and you have 30 years to work. Your economic value is $1 million, a little bit over, but don't quote me. About $1 million in your household if you never got a raise. That's your economic value. So if you do the formula in your life, I'd ask you, is your economic value insured? Are you covered with the right type of insurance if you're able to, let's say, if you're unable to go to work? That's what we're looking at. And I'll talk to you next time about how to protect your economic value. But do yourself a favor, Black CEOs, calculate your economic value and make sure you have the proper things in your life to cover yourself. But you got to know what it is first. So do that. Your annual income times the number of years you have to work. Well, Black CEOs, this is your Black CEO Wealth Minute, and I am Candace, your revenue growth strategist, always showing you how to grow your revenue without using your labor.
Thought leaders, and I have somebody who's going to share her vision and tell you her thought of the day. Taria, what's on your mind, sis?
And stop telling people we're going to try to show up. If you can't show up, darling, just say no. And there's no reason why you have to tell why you can't or why you can, because I'm telling you guys, it's going to liberate you. So let's go into this new year. Let's challenge ourselves, closing this month out, closing the next month out, to not tell people that we're going to try to show up. Either you do or you don't. You just simply say yes or you say no. And I promise you, it's going to change the way you operate in your life. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to you, Robert. That is just my thought of the day. I'm going to stop saying try.
Yes, honey. Yes. I love it. I love it.
I ain't got time to try.
Church say amen, amen. Yes, Jesus. Yes. Yes
Tell
or
them.
no.
Try
passing
is
the
a premature
plate.
excuse.
We ain't
What they say,
trying no
Taria,
more black CEOs.
no trying. Or they
Well,
we used
listen,
to.
black CEOs, we certainly want to make sure that you are absolutely definitive in your language, how you speak to people, and what you share. And I thank you so much, Vision Amon, for sharing with us that yes and no is a full sentence. There is no such thing as I'm going to try. That's bad English any old way, black CEOs, but take try out of your vocabularies and know how to say yes or no. And right now, we will want to say yes to is for those of you who are interested in knowing how to show up and blow up on social media. My sister girl, Taria Hodge, give us your social media minute.
Hi, this is Taria Hodge, your Startup Accelerator, helping you to serve, share, and shine online, bringing you the Savvy Social Media Minute. And today's Savvy Social Media Minute, we're talking about how to get followers on social media, and yes, real followers. Now, many people believe that followers on social media is a vanity metric. So today, I'm going to dispel that rumor or that myth. So followers do matter, okay? So followers tells a compelling story about your brand. Followers equal trust. Followers also generate positive social proof around your brand. So studies show that people are more inclined to follow a brand that has large amount of followers. So here's some of the things that you could do to help build your following on social media. The first thing I'm going to share with you 7 things. So the first thing I'm going to share is promote your social media profiles on all of your channels. So when people encounter your website, your blog, your emails, can they get to your social media profile? So that's the first thing. Make sure that you promote your social media profiles on all of your channels. The second thing is keep your profiles up to date. Now, especially if you have a Facebook business,
I plugged in my Ethernet cord. I didn't even think about that.
And one of the tips that I usually like to share is that you should be updating your Facebook About Me page quarterly, at the very least twice a year, every 6 months. Also, use hashtags that are relevant.
Plug it into your modem. You got to get your long cord and plug it in.
Sometimes I just want to share something with the people. Somebody gave it to me, so it's only it right that you give it to somebody else. And my message for today is that don't give up on your dreams just because you had a nightmare. I'll say that one more time. Don't give up on your dreams just because you had a nightmare. And I know somebody's saying, Robert, what's a nightmare? A nightmare is a hater. A nightmare is any financial hardships that you may have. A nightmare is something that keeps you away from your vision, something that keeps you away from your dream. So don't give up on your dream just because you have a nightmare, just because you have a setback. I know a brother that's going to share with y'all that a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback. So my message, my thought of the day, y'all out there in Black CEO land is do not stop pursuing your dreams just because you had one little old nightmare. That is my thought of the day, and we're going to keep this bus rolling, y'all. Right now, we're going to bring it over to a brother that can show you how to close the deal. And I can think of no other person than my main man, Silky Smooth, a.k.a. Mr. Felton Shower III. What is your W Sales Minute? Good gracious.
Hey, it's Velton Shaw, your Chief Strategist with your Double Your Sales Minute. Today I want to talk to you about being an expert, being a sales expert. Because understand this, customers want to work with an expert. They want to work with the best. And the one thing that you have to do every time you're in a sales situation is bring your best. Be your best, bring your best, and deliver the best possible scenario. So here are 3 points that'll help you in delivering and being your best. Number 1, be an expert in your product. Nobody should know your product.
You make a sale. Sometimes I hear voices in my head and they drive me crazy, y'all. I just want y'all to know that it's going to be all right. I'm going to have myself a morning sip of coffee. Get my chakras in order, and my sha-na-na will be all right. Listen, y'all, right now I want to keep this party going and give you the thought of the day from another sister girlfriend who is going to be coming to the DMV area. She is making sure that I have chili, and also she wants African American museum tickets. So at this time, Candace, would you tell us what is your thought of the day?
You know, Robert, anytime you can repeat it, that means that you remember. So you got it. Okay. Thank you so much for that. I'm giving you a hard time. So my thought of the day, Black CEOs, is that life is like a bicycle. Okay, you have in order to stay balanced, you have to keep moving. I'm gonna start that over. Okay, I said life is like a bicycle. In order to stay balanced, you have to keep moving. So don't let anything in your life paralyze you and keep you stuck in that space. What could keep you stuck? You know, success could keep you stuck because we could actually have the thought process that what we've done is going to keep us successful. No, we got to keep going. Or your failures could actually keep you stuck, meaning that you're so paralyzed in what you didn't do right that you don't move forward to keep going. So remember, life is like a bicycle. In order to stay balanced, you have to keep going. Thank you so much, Black CEOs. That's your thought of the day. Back to you, Robert.
Woo woo. Life is like a box of chocolates. I mean, life is like a bicycle. I love it. I love it. I love it. I will never forget how to ride because life is going to keep on going. Listen, here's what I want y'all to do right now as we keep this party bus rolling along. I want to talk to y'all or share with you somebody who's going to help you to secure the bag. Y'all know what that is. Keep that Luciano, keep the greenback, keep the broccoli, keep the green, keep the bread in the oven. So, Sharia Vision Avant, please give us your revenue minute, sis.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Taria Vision Avant with your Revenue Minute, where we tell you how to do what? Hashtag get the bag, okay? I'm excited because today I get to talk to you about a topic that, is near and dear to my heart because I have been an entrepreneur since 1999. And for a long time, I found myself in businesses where I was not excited about them. I was chasing a dollar. And a lot of times, guys, when you get into a business where you're only chasing a dollar and you're not chasing your purpose or you're not chasing passion, you will get burnt out. And so I want to teach you guys on today's Revenue Minute how to turn your passions into profits. I'm going to give you one tip today. Okay. Now there's so many different things you could do, but this one tip, I promise you, for the person who takes it and runs with it is going to fall in love with what they do. You can become a professional reviewer. All right. Now, let me explain to you what I mean. All right. Let's just say that you are passionate about going to the movies. Like I love movies. Okay. Whether it's going to the movie theater or watching on Netflix, whatever it may be, darling, I like to be out there. Right. So let's just say you like to go to the movies, or maybe you like makeup, or maybe you love shopping, or maybe you love sleeping. You like to try different sleeping things. You might be a tech person like myself. You like to buy tech gadgets and things like that. Or you might like to play video games. Well, you can become a professional reviewer of these products and or services.
early this morning, and something was on my mind, and it said, be careful of your choice of words. I'm going to say it again. Be careful of your choice of words. If you've ever been cut by a knife or you've ever been cut by a razor, it's painful. But here's what I want you to know. Your choice of words can cut deeper and more painful than any knife or razor could. Everybody's trying to do better in their lives and get out of their own way. So take a minute to remember to check your choice of words. Encourage, don't discourage. That's my thought of the day. Back over to you, Robert.
Sometimes you
Oh God. Keep your day job.
Keep your
Please.
day
Yes,
job is
please.
Keep your hold on. Keep your business, please.
Is that what you got from that, Robert? You got the spirit to sing.
That's the wrong S word, Robert. That's the wrong S
Keep
word.
your business,
Yeah,
please.
speak, don't sing.
That's
I'm
not how
trying
you
to
get
tell
the bag.
y'all, you just finished telling me that we need to encourage, don't discourage, and now y'all doing is discouraging me. I'm just trying to sing my Jesus.
We're trying to help save your life, brother. That's all.
We trying to encourage the people to keep listening and watching to us, right?
Oh, my
Please, y'all,
goodness.
don't cut it off.
If y'all are listening out there in the Black CEO world, and if you're feeling my pain, just put hashtag encourage yourself. That's right. Put hashtag encourage yourself. I just want to know if there's somebody out there who feels my pain. Sometimes you got to sing a song, even if you're off key, because I told you before, don't you give up on your dream just because you got 1, 2, 3, 4 nightmares telling you that you can't sing.
But
you know,
Robert,
don't.
I'm gonna just tell you
you-
this. When my brother was in church, we were young. He wanted to sing in the choir, and this wonderful lady said to him, "Baby, I don't want to discourage you, but this is not the ministry for you. We need to
Not your
find you a
ministry.
ministry that suits your skills and talents." So
What they
I'm gonna
say,
leave it there.
you may have what they call American Idol syndrome. You know, American Idol has like millions of people that come in and try out, and some of them are terrible.
Did nobody
but in
never
their
tell them?
mind, right? Nobody ever told them what was up. So we telling you the
You're not
truth,
gonna make
Rob, because we your real friends. We your real friends, Rob.
Any old way. Black CEOs, right now, we're going to shout some people out. Since they can't shout me out because I'm trying to be great, hopefully they can choose somebody that's showing up and blowing up and doing the doggone thing out there in the world. Here at Black CEO Family, we want to make sure that we give you an opportunity. We want to make sure that we give you a platform. We also want to make sure that we encourage and we display those out there who are giving greatness, doing greatness, and being great out in the world for the benefit, not only for their business and themselves, but for you and the Black CEO family. So with that being said, Vision Avant, can you tell us one person that you would like to shout out on this morning?
Absolutely. I must shout out Black CEO Candace Martin out there in ATL, Georgia. I know she's going to be at the close conference. She's just doing amazing things out there for our community. So wanted to give my love out to her. Make sure to let me know you saw this.
I love it. No plugs are for free. That's how you hashtag secure the bag. You collect those receipts when you perform a service. Silky Smooth, who are you shouting out this morning?
Well, I'm going to shout out Shay Brown because he's putting together the closed conference December 5th and 6th in Atlanta, Georgia at the Sonesta Hotel. So we just want to encourage everybody to attend the closed conference and support our brother Shay Brown.
All right. I love it. And, you know, right now, I just want to make sure that I shout out one of the greatest men in all of America. And I know right now that somebody else wants to go before. You want to go before me? Okay, no problem. I'll let you have your shout out first. Well, no, you don't want to have your shout out first. Let me go ahead. Fix it, Jesus. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to shout out one of the most influential men in America. I know for sure you've heard his name all over the land, but I want to shout out Dr. Willie Jolley for being great, for encouraging me and encouraging so many people that he's actually met. And one of the coolest things about Dr. Jolley, y'all, is that he's touched so many people in so many areas, in so many arenas, not only in personal development, but in business. He's also been in the church world. But one of the coolest things, I don't want to be long-winded with my shout out, but I knew he could speak really well. and I knew that he was kind of funny on stage. But one day he was doing a speech, and out of nowhere, he broke out into a whole song, Vision of God, like a whole song. He was on key and everything. So I was like, I got to meet that guy right there. Belton, I know you probably knew he had those skill sets, but I didn't know. But for those reasons and for so many more, I want to shout out Dr. Jolley. And last but not least, I want to bring you Curvaceous Crimson Curvy, Candace Woodruff. Tell us your la 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 la. Well, as we, Candace, nope, yes. Candace Woodruff, tell us your shout out for today.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Candace, you're not playing fair right now, Candace. I just want to let you know that.
I'm
But
so
as we
sorry,
keep this
Robert.
moving along, I just want to make sure that every chance you get an opportunity, people out there in the Black CEO world, make sure that you shout somebody out. Make sure that you elevate somebody. Make sure that you encourage somebody out there. And I don't mean by sending them a text message. Shout them out online because you're on social media anyway. It's okay to share somebody else's message. It's okay to quote somebody else. It's okay to say, hey, high five to so and so for doing X, Y, Z, but let somebody else know about the great people who are in the Black CEO family, in your circle of influence, or anywhere that you should happen to go. So that is, we are deliberate in our messaging to make sure that we shout somebody out. And now Candace wants to play in my sandbox. So let me get her shout out of the day before she goes to take her basketball away home. Are you there,
Yes.
Candace? Who is your shout out for today?
I am here, Robert, and I didn't want you to feel like that I didn't want to shout anybody out. We're live and there was some, tech things going on. But anyway, I'm shouting out the Black CEO Morning Show crew. There's so many things going on. This is a new journey. Everybody's just doing their best, and I'm shouting you guys out, all of us doing it together. Teamwork makes the dream work. Back to you, Rob.
All
I
right.
love it. I love it. I love it. That's one of my favorite things to say, that teamwork makes the dream work. Well, before we get to our guest, y'all, we want to give you an amazing TV commercials because we got to get the bills paid, y'all. So as we go to our commercial break, get your pens, get your papers, and get ready for our guest on the other side. But at this time, we're going to bring you our bill paying commercial.
Listen, you're not wrong if you think having an online TV show will help you increase your company's influence and income online for business. But having an online TV show or starting an online TV show can be a lot of work if you don't understand the technology behind how to produce something that looks professional and visually compelling, and may take time you don't have as a busy business professional. We understand this, and this is why Remote Producer Live will now produce your online TV show for you remotely and from anywhere. What does this mean? It means that you now have the power of...
Whoop, whoop. Guess who showed up from the shadows and just brought themselves on the screen? My goodness, Kimberly, Kimberly, Kimberly. I'm so happy that y'all got to meet Kimberly Flowers. Please support what she's doing remotely. The production services are amazing, amazing, amazing. So I encourage you to make sure that you partner with her so that you too can show up and blow up from the platform wherever you are, and she can do it remotely, y'all. But at this time, I want to bring to you one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. And I just want to let you know that he is one of the most outstanding 5 speakers in all of the world. I didn't say in the nation, I said in the world. He is the host of the #1 motivational radio show on Sirius XM Radio. And he is the replacement for the legendary Zig Ziglar on the National Get Motivated Tour with Les Brown, y'all. And he is an author of several best-selling books, and including "It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life." A setup is a setup for comeback, and one I love right now is that he's done with his very lovely wife. Make love, make money, and make it laugh. I want to introduce to you the one and only Dr. Willie Jolley. Are you there, Doc?
I am here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here with you. You can't refuse it. You didn't seek it. You didn't choose it, but it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it, give account if you abuse it. just a tiny little minute, but your eternities are wrapped up in it. So I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity. That the number one fear in America is public speaking. Number two fear in America is death. So people really are more afraid to give a speech than they are to die. In other words, they'd rather be the person in the box than the one giving the eulogy. But what we found out is that people can learn how to take their ability to communicate, to speak, whether it's small groups, large groups, or individually, and find ways to get paid well. The speaking business is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and many of the people who are professional speakers are making seven figures regularly, which means $1 million plus a year in speaking. So what I'm grateful for is that I've been doing this now for 30 years, and I'm grateful in those 30 years I've been blessed to be able to be named one of the top 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters. I've been blessed to be able to be inducted in the Speaker Hall of Fame, where there are only a few who have been given that honor. I've been blessed to be named a legend of the speaking industry. But what I'm really blessed by, Robert, is that I've had the opportunity to see people who came to me when they were just a person who was interested, a newbie, a neophyte, and say, I want to be a speaker. And I've been able to help and work with them, and they had made me so proud. A few of those names you might know. There was a lady named Cheryl Wood, who was a mom who had some kids. She had a setback in her corporate position, and she felt that she had some ability to talk about her story. She came to me. In fact, she contacted my office, and my assistant said, well, you know what? We have our annual boot camp. And she came to the boot camp, and I taught her some of the principles that she would need to launch a speaking enterprise. Well, you just said she had her speaker con. I made a guest appearance. I was so impressed. A room full of people from all over America had come to be part of that event. And I just could do nothing but applaud her. One of the people at that speaker con who got an award from Cheryl for being a world changer in their speaking business was Della Toro McNeil II. Now, Della Toro came to me, again, called my assistant, maybe 15, 16 years ago, and heard that I was coming to Tampa, Florida to be the Martin Luther King Jr. Day speaker. And he said, is there any way I can get some time with Dr. Jolley? She said, he got a busy schedule. He said, can I help at the table? You know, one of the things you learn is that you find a way to volunteer, find a way to help, and it makes it easier for people to spend time with you and develop a relationship. Well, he said, I'll volunteer at the table, I'll help her. She said, I need help because there'll be a lot of people who want to get books signed and so forth. So he helped. And then he said, you know, I know y'all got a car to take you to the airport, but is there any way I could take you just so I could spend more time? So he took us to the airport. And the next time I came to Tampa, he picked me up and took me to where I was speaking. And we developed a friendship. Well, he said, I want to be a speaker. He was a student at University of South Florida. And he said, I want to be a speaker. And I told him the things he needed to do. Then he started working on them. Then he came and got involved in some of my training and teaching programs. Now he's the youngest certified speaking professional ever in the National Speakers Association. He has gone on to speak for the $1 Million Roundtables in Dubai and South Korea. He's one of the top speakers in America. And then I look at a guy named Shay Brown. Shay Brown called my office one night about 11 o'clock. I was still working. I was working on a new book. And he said, I answered, I said, it's a great day. And he said, you answer? And I said, yeah. They said you would be working late. And I said, well, I am. And he said, well, I'm Shay Brown. And I knew his brother. He mentioned his brother. I said, hey, how can I help you? He said, well, I'm trying to start this speaking thing. And wow, I'm impressed with The fact you're working. I said, let me tell you the first lesson about being a great speaker. Sometimes you got to hoot with the owls if you want to fly with the eagles. You got to be willing to outwork everybody. And you've got to know that just because you've got a great speaking ability or great speaking talent or gift even, that you still got to outwork everybody. You got to get up early. You got to stay up late. You got to work hard on your craft. In other words, you got to hustle. He said, I'm writing that down. I said, hustle. Make sure you hustle. Good things come to those who wait. They get the leftovers of those who hustle. And so you got to hustle. So I'm grateful that Shay now is as part of this Black CEO is one of the leaders in creating this new movement. And finally, another guy you might know named Trevor Ott. I was speaking, doing an event with my friend Wally Famous Amos, Wally the famous Amos, the cookie guy. He was having his 75th birthday, and he had been invited to DC to get a big commendation from the Congress. And so he came to DC, and he said, Brother Willie, I'm coming to DC. I said, Wally, we're going to have a party for you. We're going to have a party for you. He said, great. So we put this event on, and there was a little guy over in the corner with a computer, and he had a camera. I said, what are you doing, my man? He said, I'm webcasting. I said, what? What casting? He said, webcast. I'd never heard of webcasting before. I'd never seen anybody do it before. He was the first person, and he said, I want to be a speaker. I want to do this. So he and Shay came over. They started a business, and they came over to my home, and I started working with them. So I've got all these students now who have become great teachers in their own. And add to the list Simon Bailey, who's now in the Speaker Hall of Fame, who was a Disney corporate exec, who said he wanted to speak. And every time I come to Orlando, he would take me to lunch or dinner, and I told him what to do. Then there's a guy named Walter Bond, who now is probably one of the hottest speakers on the corporate scene, corporate market, speaking to corporations, was a former Timberwolves basketball player who said, I want to be a speaker. Someone told me I had the gift of gab. I could make some money. Now he's one of the greatest making. Each one of them are making in excess of $1 million a year speaking. So I want to help others to do that. I want to help some of you who are gifted, who got talents, who got abilities, and who have a message to share. But the difference between, let's talk about the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. What's the difference? Is it giftedness? No. Is it talent? No. Is it ability? No. It's knowledge. It's knowledge. It's knowing how to build a successful enterprise. See, there are two ways to get to any goal, whether it's speaking or any other goal: mentors and mistakes. Both will get you there in time, but one gets you there quicker, faster, and with less headaches, heartaches, and knots upside your head. It's a shortcut because they can tell you where the divots are in the road, where the bumps are, where the gullies are, so that you can avoid them and you don't have to make the same mistakes they had maybe made. So that's why I started getting mentors early on. Somebody taught me that lesson early on in my speaking career. And one of the biggest, greatest examples of that was I was a new speaker. I was making about $100 a speech. My first 5 years, I was speaking only to youth, primarily to youth, and I was making about $100 a speech, maybe $150 on a good day. And I kept hearing about this guy in North Carolina who was teaching people how to become millionaires in the speaking industry. And I kept hearing about him. So I called his office, and the lady said, hello, how can I help you? I said, I hear this guy teaches people how to become millionaires. She said, yes. And I said, I met this person, that person, this person, that person, and they all recommended him. They are millionaires. And they said he was their teacher, their mentor. She said, yes. I said, well, I want to come to one of his seminars. She said, well, we've got only one seminar left this year, and we've only got a couple seats in that seminar available. I said, ma'am, that's my seat. One of those seats is mine. She said, oh, okay, great. I said, now, when is it? She told me the date. I said, I'm available. I'll come. Where is it? She told me it was in North Carolina. I said, I'll come. I said, now, how much is it? And I said, how much is it? She said, it's $10,000. I said, what you say? She said, $10,000. $10,000. And I said to myself in my limited thinking mindset, man, forget that. I'll just stay here and learn it on my own. which was limited thinking. But then I remembered one of those cassettes. Y'all remember cassette tapes? I used to listen to lots of cassette tapes. I have still some of them here, Strangest Secret and others. I listened to one of those tapes, and I would listen to one time, and a guy said, there's a price, and never forget this, there's a price for success. Price to go to college, price to go to trade school, price to learn. There's a price for success, and then there's a cost for not being willing to pay the price. The cost of staying the same and being in the same place this year as you were last year this year, wasted year. Or how about staying this year and being in the exact same place next year this time, a wasted year. Let me tell you something, everybody, I want y'all to know. Everybody who's watching or listening to this broadcast, everybody can make more money. But not one person who watching or listening to this can make more time. You have 1,440 minutes per day. That's it. You can't make one more minute. And when your time is up, your time is up. So you got to take advantage. You got to seize the moment. You got to take advantage of the time. And I knew that. And I said, ma'am, I'm coming. I'm coming. And so I went to work. I begged, I borrowed. I didn't steal, but I begged and borrowed. And I got that money up, and I went to that seminar. And 3 days later, I came back a changed man. And I quickly went to work and quickly made $100,000. The next time he had a big seminar, I wrote 2 registrations. I wrote a check for 2 registrations, mine and my wife. Because I believe you ought to make sure if you're married that your spouse is seeing and thinking like you are, so that they can understand your vision. And so I took it, and when it went up to 15,000, I wrote 2 registrations. And so I went on to start speaking at another level, and I'm very grateful that over the years, it has had an impact on my business, those mentorship relationships. Les Brown's been a mentor. Zig Ziglar was a mentor. I was honored to replace him on the Get Motivated tour when he died. So I want you to get some mentors, and I want you to find ways that you can avoid making all the mistakes everybody else made. Next thing, what are the big 3 things that stop speakers from making all they can and being paid from the stage? Well, 3 M's I want you to focus on: message, marketing, media. Message, marketing, media. Those are 3 things I have really learned over these years that have helped me. First, constantly working on my message, constantly working on getting better. I believe it's critically important that it's important you get better. Now, what do you do to get better? Well, here's the key. That I believe it's important that you tell your story. Everybody should have a power voice, as Les Brown says, a power story. See, the one thing that sets you apart from all the other people on this planet is your story. Nobody can tell your story, and no one can tell the depths and pains that you've had to overcome. So one of the mistakes I made early on as a speaker was that I was telling everybody else's story. I was talking about how Abraham Lincoln failed all these times before he became president. And I was telling about Thomas Edison and how he failed over 10,000 times making a light bulb. And I was telling everybody's story in my speech. And one of my mentors blessed my heart. Her name was Rosita Perez. She's gone on to be with the Lord. She was one of the greatest speakers on the planet. She's a compatriot of General Colin Powell. And Rosita Perez, I saw her at the National Speakers Association. By the way, I highly recommend you visit a local chapter of your National Speakers Association to learn how the speaking business operates. The speaking business has grown and changed because there's now the speak to sell option where you get on people's stages. Then there's the corporate option where you get paid by corporation. $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 to give a presentation. But you can learn how to craft and build a speaking enterprise at NSA. Well, I went to NSA, National Speakers Association, And I met this lady, Rosita Perez. Everybody said she was like the godmother of everybody who wanted to learn. You learn from Rosita. So I went up to her and she said, "Young man, I think you got something special. You could do something special in your life with this speaking." I said, I said, "I'll be happy to do that. I learn as much as I can." Well, here's the thing. She said, "Send me your VHS." This is back when we got VHS tapes. I sent her my VHS tape, and she sent me a note. Said, "I'd love to talk to you on the phone." She got me on the phone. She said, "Let me tell you something. You've got the skills, you got the ability, you got the gifts, but you got to tell your story. You got to tell your story, not somebody else's story. Tell your story. Anybody can tell about Thomas Edison. Anybody can tell about Abraham Lincoln, but no one can tell your story." And from that day to this, I made a habit of telling my story, which went on to become a book, A Setback as a Setup for a Comeback, that became a global bestseller, that went on to take me onto stages all over the world, Australia, South Africa, China, Japan, because everybody has had a setback. Everybody needs a comeback. Everybody wants to win after they've lost. So I would think first is your message. Second is your marketing. You got to market your business. I have a 5-foot rule. Particularly when I started speaking, I had a 5-foot rule. 5 feet. Anybody within 5 feet of me, I was going to tell them I was a speaker. That was guerrilla hand-to-hand marketing. But over the years, I've expanded my marketing to so many ways that we now market. We market through my books. We market through my audios. We market through Facebook. We market through YouTube. We market through my speaking. We got business cards, unique business cards. I always like to teach people how to develop business cards similar to mine because they make a difference. We market through postcards. We market through bookmarkers. We market through printed material. We are constantly marketing. So first is message, then marketing. You got to learn how to market and get a marketing strategy. The third one is media. Now, Robert, you said something earlier that I concur with, that you got to have some mass media. I mean, you have to have social media. And so I concur with that, but you also need to be focusing on how you can develop mass media, traditional media, because still some people listen to traditional media are still slow on the catching up on how to handle social. They still do television. And I think that's good because Oprah done pretty good with traditional media. You know, she done pretty good.
That's right.
So I've got now social media. You can get my messaging on Facebook. My wife and I do a Happily Married Monday episode TV program every Monday night on Facebook Live at 9 o'clock. We do that. Then we've got Twitter. Then we got Instagram. If you followed me this week, you saw I was in New York City in the subway. You saw me at the Hamilton show, meeting people backstage. You saw me talking to different people in different areas of the country. Last weekend I was in LA and I was tweeting and posting from there. But that's great. But then I also got Sirius XM, where I now got the #1 self-help show in America on Sirius XM, where I have guests like Colin Powell and Bill Marriott and Les Brown and Wally Amos and Brian Tracy, Dennis Kimbrough, Damon John, Gladys Knight, John Maxwell, TD Jakes. So every week I have the best of the brightest. But some people don't have Sirius XM. It still is not something everybody has. Well, I want more people to hear my message. I want to get my message to more people through media. But there's a new thing that I jumped on called podcasts. So now I've got podcasts. I signed a deal with iHeartRadio and C-Suite Radio and Spotify and TuneIn and Stitcher and Apple Podcasts. You can get my podcast anywhere, the Willie Jolley Wealth and Ways podcast. So I've got mass media, I've got social media, and I'm getting my brand not just locally, not just regionally, not just nationally, but globally. Right now, right this moment, somewhere in the world, someone's buying one of my books. I don't know where, but we'll get a report from our publisher. But every day somebody's buying one of my books, so they're downloading my digital books. They're listening to something on some platform where they can hear some of my audio books, or they are digitally getting it on some sort of iPad or phone. That's my goal, to make sure we reach people massively. So I want you to take these things. If you're going to build a great speaking enterprise, you've got to have a great message. You got to have a great marketing. I don't even say marketing plan, a marketing desire. You got a desire to talk to people, talk to people, talk to people, talk to people. I call it TTP, talk to people. 5-foot rule, TTP, talk to people. Tell people about your speaking, what you can do. And then when you finish TTP, you got a TTMP, talk to more people. Keep talking to people. Keep talking to people and telling them. So message, marketing, and then mass media. And the last one is massive. Massive. If you want massive results, you got to get massive action. My friend Mark Victor Hansen. Y'all know him. Let's see. Can y'all see this book over here? Let's see if I can pull that out without disturbing it. This is for the Christian Soul. I'm featured on the front cover with Joyce Meyer, Tony Campola, Naomi Rhodey, and Willie Jolley. But the books are written by Jack Canfield, my good friend, and Mark Victor Hansen. Y'all know them from the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. Well, I've had them both on my XM show, but Mark and I did a tour together some years ago, and he said, and I was still, relatively new. I was on the Crystal Cathedral men's tour for the Hour of Power broadcast with Dr. Schuler, and Mark, myself, and Charlie Tremendous Jones, one of the greatest speakers ever lived. We were on this tour together, and we'd have dinner, and they would pour into me. And Mark said, I want y'all to write this one down. He said, it takes massive right thinking mixed with massive right action in order to get massive right results. Massive right thinking. So when they started this Chicken Soup series, they got turned down by over 30 publishers. One little publisher said, I'll print the book, but I can't give you an advance. But I'll print your little Chicken Soup books. And Mark and Jack said, we're going to do massive sales. Their goal was to do 1 million books in 18 months. That's unbelievable. They said they did 1 million books in 24 months. Took them 6 months longer because they got a massive mindset. They both made a commitment to do 3 radio interviews per day, each one of them. And so they got on radio. They sent out press releases. They got people to interview them. And they did the 3 interviews each. That was 6 interviews every day. And within a year, they had sold, in 2 years, they sold 1 million books. And they went on. I tell one great story that Jack told me. He said after the books had become household names, they had Chicken Soup for the Soul. They had Chicken Soup for the Mother's Soul, Chicken Soup for the Father's Soul, Chicken Soup for the Nurse's Soul, Chicken Soup for the Plumber's Soul. They had all of it. There's a whole empire. And one day, Jack said his wife went out. And said, I went looking for some houses. And here's some of the houses I looked at. And he looked at the brochures. And they're all like $3 million each. He said, $3 million? What in the world are you thinking? She said, I'm thinking we can afford it. He said, oh, you're right. I forgot. We're wealthy now. He said, my self-esteem had not caught up with my income. Mm. And so he said, I had to work on my self-esteem to realize we could afford it. And so, folks, I'm encouraging you to get a massive mindset. One of the things I like to do is help people to do that. So I'm just really proud of Robert. Robert, let you know, being completely transparent. Robert is not just a guy who's making a difference. He's also my church mate. Okay, we go to church together, First Baptist Church of Glenard, and under the pastorship of Pastor John Kenneth Jenkins Sr. And it's the biggest church in the state of Maryland. And I'm very honored that Pastor Jenkins invited me to come and speak there years ago, and I joined. And so I'm very grateful. It's changed my life. And Robert's a very valuable and hardworking member of the church. And so we'd seen each other, but then one day he came up to me after a speech and said, "Hey, I'm doing this thing." And I said, "Well, any way I can help." So when he called me about this, he said, "Is there any way you can do it?" And be honest with you, I actually was at the doctor's office. I'm supposed to be looking like this today because I supposed to have I had eye drops in, and they did all this. But I said I could put on my other glasses. But I told Robert, I'll be back in time, man. I promise I'll be back in time because I got to be there for you. And Velton has been a friend, man. We've been friends for so long, and with Shay and Trevor. In fact, Velton was around when I first introduced my Wild Box. You remember that, Velton?
Yeah, I do.
You
Yes,
remember
I
that?
do.
And
Absolutely.
my Wild Box was one of the first ones who said, "Man, that's crazy. I never seen a speaker with a box." And this box is all my resources and all my programs and all my books. Here are my books. It Only Takes a Minute, Change Your Life was my first book. Setback, Set Up for a Comeback, global bestseller. Second, turned setbacks into greenbacks. An Attitude of Excellence, my work with Ford Motor Company, how you build your business by growing your people, because great people give great service, good people give good service, mediocre people give mediocre service, and negative people will kill your organization. So you got to grow your people. So Attitude of Excellence, Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last, Chicken Soup for the Soul. And then I don't know if you can see above it, but my audios, my PBS specials, and my one-man show. What we try and do is create massive impact. Products, books, audios, videos, podcasts. I'm trying to get massive impact. Let me tell you one more thing. Somebody was talking about making money. I was at a event yesterday, and somebody said, "Well, what's your goal?" I said, "My goal is two-pronged. One, I got to make massive impact. I want to leave a legacy. My goal is that 100 years from now, some person, someone, somewhere in the world will be reading one of my books or watching one of my video messages, or have their phone and they'll be listening to a podcast. 100 years from now, that's my goal. And they'll say, that guy Willie Jolley changed my life. They say, where do you find his works? Oh, you can get them anywhere. That's my goal, to leave an impact. Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. How many, by the way, have read Think and Grow Rich?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, all of the winners have read Think and Grow Rich. Now, of those people out there who want to be winners, how many of you have not read Think and Grow Rich? I'm going to put the other hand up. So here's what I want to give to you, a gift. If you'll go to williejolly.com/gift, let me do it even simpler. wjspeaks.com/gift. You get a free digital copy of Think and Grow Rich, my gift to you. How do I give that away? Because I was one of the 53 thought leaders on the 75th anniversary of Napoleon Hill writing that book. Now, that book was written in the 1930s. It's still making millionaires. It's made more millionaires than any book other than the Bible. My friend Joe Dudley from Dudley Hair Care Products says, I've read the book 300 times. The first 100 times I read it made me rich. Second 100 times I read it kept me rich. And the third 100 times was for insurance. So read Think and Grow Rich. Go to wjspeaks.com/gift. That's my gift to you, because I want more people to be inspired. But Napoleon Hill wrote that book 75 years ago. People are still reading it, still being inspired by it. That's my goal, that 175 years, 100 years, 200 years from now, somebody will read one of my books, listen to one of my audios, listen to one of my messages, say, changed my life. I've had some setbacks, but I'm going to turn them into comebacks. I've had some setbacks that I've turned into comebacks, and now I'm going to turn them into greenbacks. I've had some challenges. I've had some difficult moments. I've lost in some part of my life, but it's time to win. And Dr. Jolley, his message helped me to win, because that's what I do. I help people stop losing market share for corporations and stop losing in your daily endeavors and start winning greater wallet share in your business, and start winning in your marriages, We want more winners in our marriages. That's why my wife and I have wrote the book. We want to save 1 million marriages, enhance 1 million marriages. That's our goal. So a couple things I want to give you some offers. One, if you want to get my box or my bag of books, that's one option. You go to williejolly.com/billionaire. And anybody who does it and who orders and says that they heard me on the Black CEO, this is my tips for speaking success. It's a book, it's CDs and a DVD. When I spoke for Toastmasters World Conference on the power of your marketing and message, and one of the top selling DVDs they've ever had. Now, this does not come in my wow box. This is the one thing. All the other things come in my wow box, but I'm going to put this in my wow box. This is a $400 product by itself. I'm going to put this in my wow box if you say you heard it on the CEO. You got to say that or it won't go in there. The other thing is, some of you want to speak. I was with Les Brown one day. We were in LA, and he said something that caught my attention. He said, Willie, you know, there's some characters. He used the word characters who are scamming and people and trying to teach them how to speak and get 5 figures in revenues from speaking, and they've never done it themselves. They're charging people $30,000, $40,000 to teach them how to do that. He said, that's not right. I said, you're right. It's not right. So we need to do something. So I came back home and I sent out a message on our social media and on our newsletter. Anybody who wants to spend an afternoon with me on how to grow your speaking business and get started from ground zero to go up to at least a point where you can start making some serious money, come to my office. We're going to have it in my office. And people came from all over the country, and it was very intimate. And I now make that available to people on a website for $99. Just go to youcanspeaknow.com. Youcanspeaknow.com. For $99 is a 3-hour training on getting your marketing, your message, at least the basics, to get you up and going so you can generate some revenues and start making some money. Now, last but not least, some people say, well, you know what? I'm beyond the entry level. I really want to get into the big dollars, and I want to spend some quality time with you. So just like I went to spend 3 days with that guy in North Carolina, I've now made once a year, I do a speaker intensive boot camp here in Washington, D.C. I do it once a year because that's all my schedule will allow. And it's always the weekend before Thanksgiving. So it'll be this year, it's going to be on November 21st, 22nd, 23rd, the evening of the 21st, all day 22nd, 23rd. If you want to get in on my boot camp, we only got a couple slots left. If you want to get on the boot camp, you've got to call my office ASAP. You can go to read more about it at JollyRichSpeaking.com. Jolly Rich, RICH, speaking.com. But there are only a couple slots left, so you'd have to call. One lady was already, who I met at Cheryl Wood's event. She said, I want it. She's already jumped on with Cheryl Reagan in my office and secured her spot. So we got a few spots left. And another gentleman saw me this weekend and said, I want one of the slots. So call my office, 202-723-8863. 202-723-8863. Say, I want it. I'm telling you, it's not, it's not going to be cheap. I want to tell you, it's not. It's $5,000. Might as well tell you it's $5,000 so you won't have sticker shock. But it's a lot less than what I paid to go to that 3 days to change my life. And it's a lot less than some of these scammers are charging people who've never been paid $20,000, $25,000, $40,000, $60,000 for a 1-hour speech. I can tell you I've been paid that. And I've traveled to Dubai where they paid me not only a high fee, but flew my wife and I over in Emirates. I've been paid fees like that in Nigeria, speak for the First Bank. I've been fees like that South Africa, for Coca-Cola South Africa. I want to help others. to do what Della Toro, Cheryl Wood, Shay Brown, Trevor Ott, and others, Simon Bailey, have done. Grow a powerful, lasting legacy with a speaking industry that can change people's lives. Because we need you sharing your message. We need you sharing your message. So I believe I'm supposed to take some questions and answers. Is that right, Robert?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We just want to thank you so very much for being a part of the Black CEO Morning Show. It is a treat and a pleasure and an honor anytime we have an opportunity to sit and hear you speak, because you're giving us so many nuggets. I ran out of ink trying to write down all the things that you were trying to share with us. But one of the things I want to do to make sure that we put out the Black CEO feed is wjspeaks.com/gifts. Is that right?
Gift, G-I-F-T, gift.
GIFT. So wjspeaks.com/gift. Please put that on the Black CEO feed. And also, if you want the intensive with Dr. Jolley, please reach out to him at 202-723-8863. Did I get that right, Dr. Jolley?
That's right. That's right. And did I give you where you can get the box? I didn't even tell you where.
Did. Yes.
I
No.
don't think I gave you that. Let's go to
Okay.
williejolly.com/billionaire. Billionaire. williejolly.com/billionaire. That was where it's a site we set up for the Billionaire Mastermind Forum when I spoke for them, and they said we want a special deal for all of these billionaires. So we put that a special deal for the box or the bag of books on that page. That's my deal. Go there and just get a great deal. It's just a great deal. So and you got to, though, after you buy it, send me an email or note, say I heard you on Black CEO, so you can get this thrown in.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Dr. Jolley, I know we have so many hosts on the show, and they represent
And
the people out in the Black.
too, and beautiful hosts and handsome hosts. So I'm honored to be. I just hope I can hold my end up.
But Dr. Jolley, you don't have to tell me I'm handsome. I got a face made for radio. But all of these beautiful people that they allow me to sit with, they represent the Black CEO family. So, Vision Avant, I know you are just raring to go to ask Dr. Jolley a question. So please speak on behalf of the Black CEO tribe, what they need to know.
It is an honor. Sorry, I was muted, but it's an honor to even be asking you a question. So I just feel so excited to be talking to you. My question is, a lot of times, absolutely. Well, Dr. Willie Jolley, a lot of times I get people that are saying, well, I'm just going to wait until I get good at this, or I'm going to wait until, I get better, or I learn what to do. And a lot of times I'm telling people, you need to go out there and do it. Go out there and speak and mess up and be bad of that nature until you can get to the point where you can invest and learn and grow. What is your opinion on people who want to wait for the perfect time to get on this stage and tell their truth?
You are so wise and you are so right. I encourage people to be bad to get good. Michael Jordan was bad. He got cut from his basketball team in high school, junior high school, whatever. But he got cut initially from the first team because he was bad, but he made a decision to get bad. Look, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And you've got to be willing to be bad in order to eventually be good. So go out, do it. Start speaking for small groups, speak for church groups. Everybody got to get good. Everybody has a learning curve. I wish. Now, look, this is one of my early cassette audios, okay? Picture me and Les Brown. And I used to sell this for $10 at my speeches. But there's another one that's even more primitive than this. This one's pretty good, but there's another one that's more primitive, one of my earliest speeches. If I could find those tapes now, I'd buy them all back. All right? I wasn't good. But I didn't let that stop me. Let me tell you a story real quick. And this, you're right on, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
When I was a new speaker, I had been speaking to youth, and schools ended in June, and my bills didn't stop in June. So I got to make some money to pay my mortgage. So I'm calling folks. And I called this one guy at Bell Atlantic. Now, I had never spoken for a corporate group at that point. And I'm saying, I'm a youth speaker, but I heard somebody told me, gave me your number. He said, well, you know what? I'm having a meeting with the White House. It was called the President's Executive Exchange Committee. That was the President's. The White House would bring in CEOs from corporate America, and then division heads from government to meet and cross-pollinate ideas. He said, we were going to have our first day with just a networking, but I think it'd be good to have a speaker. Would you be willing to do it? I said, yeah. He said, I'll pay you. I said, really? Yeah. He told me to pay. I said, wow. So I said, I'll take it. But after I took it, then I said, what the heck am I going to say to them? I've been speaking to kids. And so one of my friends said, man, you better cancel because you could mess up your reputation. I ain't got a reputation. The other friend though gave me good advice. He said, I said, what should I do? They've heard the best speakers. They've heard the Zig Ziglars, the Brian Tracy's. They know all the great speakers. What should I talk to them about? He said, do what brought you to the dance. Do what brought you to the dance. And so I went and I spoke to these CEOs and these government and covenant heads about how to motivate their kids. Stay away from drugs, stay away from negative people, and pursue academic excellence. And they bought every one of these little cassettes I had because they said our kids need motivation. Thank you for that speech. A few of them brought me to their companies to speak for their teams about motivating their children. And in time, I developed a corporate message. You know what? If you're waiting for, Les used to say, go before you're ready. Go before you're ready. And in time, you'll get ready because you went. I'm encouraging you to go. Take some of those events. Be bad. It won't, 20 years from now, they won't remember you bad. They will remember how determined and diligent and how you were scrappy. I interviewed Bob Johnson, America's first black billionaire, founder of Black Entertainment Television. And he said, Willie, people don't remember me driving around in my old hoopty when I started Black Entertainment Television with my handmade signs, going to television conferences with my little handmade signs at my little table. They don't remember that. They remember that I'm a billionaire. I mean, y'all ready to be a billionaire? I mean, y'all ready to be a billionaire? All right? Don't worry about people talking about you now. They won't remember that. They'll just remember how scrappy you were because you never gave up. Somebody else got a question?
Ooh-wee. Let the whole church say amen.
Come on.
Go on now, Candace. Ask your question to Dr. Jolley.
I do. So, Dr. Jolley, it's always a pleasure to be in your presence. And I'm excited because I got my wow box when you were at our church. And I still have our pictures. It's so funny. In Little Rock, Arkansas at St. Mark Baptist Church. So it's good to see you again.
Oh, I love St. Mark and I love Little Rock and I love the catfish.
Absolutely. So this is my question for you. So let's say back in the day, right? You're doing great now and you talk about your journey, but what advice, and I know you just mentioned go do it, but what steps would you tell a new entrepreneur that's wanting to get into speaking? Let's say they've never done it before. Earlier you said get mentors and go make some mistakes, but sometimes that still is kind of shaky, right? I don't feel like I have the money. I don't feel like I have the resources. What advice would you give that person that's just getting started?
4 steps. Number 1, if you've not ever given a speech, take a Toastmasters course.
Good.
Okay?
Good.
They'll teach you how to get up, present, give a message, and then sit down in an effective way. Take a Toastmasters course. Number 2, attend a local meeting of the National Speakers Association. There's a chapter in every state, I think. Number 3, get a book called Speak and Grow Rich by Dottie Walters. You can get it on Amazon. I get nothing from that book. It's a good book. Number 4, go and get that training I have at youcanspeaknow.com because it's going to teach you a lot of the things you need to know to get up and going. And 5, speak. Wherever, whenever, for whatever you can. Just speak. Just speak. Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, your meeting, your aunt's church function. Just speak. Just be in front of people. Just anytime somebody say we need a speaker, volunteer. Just do it. Believe it or not, it'll help you to develop your confidence, even when you weren't great. You know, Robert knows that for many years at our church, my wife and I taught a class on public speaking for people of faith. And
Yeah.
we would tell people, go and just do it. And we call it the forward lean. You got to get a forward lean. Whenever you get to speak, lean forward and lean into people, because what that does is make them feel like you've got something that you want to give them. I'm giving you my best. And let me tell you something. Most people are afraid to give a speech, not knowing that the people in the audience are pulling for you. They really are. They don't want to waste their time, so they want you to do well. So they're pulling for you. They're not trying to hate on you. Just go do the best you can and be as enthusiastic and lean forward into them, and they'll appreciate it. Oh, last thing. Les Brown taught me something that I want y'all to keep in mind, and it has been profoundly impactful. Many times when you go to speak, you'll notice somebody in the room who doing this, who got the arms crossed, the face all gritty, because they're not loving on you. And what the inexperienced speaker does is try and put all their energies to that person to make them like them. Okay? Don't do that. Look for the person who's into you, who's smiling, or at least is not gritting on you, and put your energies there. Why is that important? Because Les taught me something that I have found to be true. He said, if you speak to 10 people, 3 of them are going to like you for what you say. 3 of them are going to like you because the way you said what you say. 3 of them are going to like you because you simply showed up and they wanted to have a speaker. And 1 of them is not going to like you no matter what you do or say. Okay? So don't get tied up, tangled up because of that 1 who's not going to like you no matter what you say. You can spend all day trying to convince them. Go with the 1 of the 3. The ones who like you because you showed up, ones who like you because of what you say, or ones who like you because of the way you say what you say. And you'll succeed.
That's good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. When you tell your pastor, I said hello.
I will.
All right. I got to come back to Little Rock. I love Little Rock. All right.
Silky smooth.
My man Belton, he is my dog. That's my man.
What's up? Well, I'm humbled every time I have the opportunity to sit at your feet and learn, because I have learned so much over the years, and you've always been so accommodating. One of the things that I from you, and I want to continue to share is, I, like you, I'm a writer, and I love to write, and I know that through writing, it allows me to enhance or enrich the message that I speak about. Can you talk a little bit about writing, and especially journaling, and how important it is as a speaker to commit to continuing to prime the pump with information and experience through either journaling or writing?
Well, thank you, Velton. And as you know, I've written a number of books. I've got a number more I'm working on right now. I've got a new book called The ABCs of Achievement that will be out soon. I've got a book called The New Theology of Achievement that is coming out in 2020. So I've got books that I'm constantly working on. And here's the lesson I want to share with you. One is that writing to me did not come easy. And I have to focus and really struggle through writing, but I've done it because I made up my mind I was going to do it. I agree with you. You should journal. I journal, and I learn through my journal. Every day, life offers us lessons, beautiful, marvelous lessons that we should capture. Jim Rohn used to talk about how important journaling was, and that you should have a journal. My journal now is on my iPad. I got, if you were in my office here, I got books, by the way, everywhere in my office. I got books everywhere, 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 everywhere. I got books because Charlie Tremendous Jones taught me when we were on tour that in 5 years you'll be the same person you are today, except for the people you meet who inspire you and the books you read that empower you. So I started making a commitment to read and learn from great people. If you want to be great, walk with the great, talk with the great, and you will be great. Now, the next thing is that writing those ideas, taking them out. I'm journaling all the time, or I'm taking notes, or I'm making little folders. I got folders over here in my office. I got numerous folders. When I get a great idea, I will take a little pad or a piece of paper and I'll put it in a folder, and that will be some of the content for my next book. The other thing John Maxwell taught me when we were together, he said, "Hey, Brother Willie, what I do every day, how do I write so many books? I write every day." He said he writes every day. Jeffrey Gitomer writes every day. A lot of the great writers write every day, whether they got anything to write or not. They sit down and start writing every day, half hour, hour, every day. They make a commitment. So I just want to encourage you to keep writing, Velton. These books are my babies now. You know, they're my babies. Where I go, they go. And you know, I've even had a situation where people get mad because I bring my books with me. But you know what? I worked hard on them books, and that's why I bring them. But I won't put out anything that that has not passed my my own standard. It's got to be good. It's got to be impactful, and it's got to move me. And if it moves me, I'm happy with it. So continue to write. Do it. Whether you do it, Dr. Schuler used to go away for a month and write. Some sit down and just write for weekends or whatever, evenings. Iyanla, she would write in the evenings. But whatever your day would do, make sure you put your processes and your ideas into some form of book form. Because let me tell you, I sell a lot of CDs, DVDs, and so forth. But nothing sells like a book. Nothing. People will buy a book. Even if they don't read it, they'll buy it.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Some people have self-help and some people have shelf-help. Anyway, they hold up the shelf in their book. Anyway, we got a couple of minutes and maybe a last question or something.
So real quick, Dr. Jolley, I'll just ask this because you touched on it before. I love the fact that you are on XM radio, but you talked about podcasting. That's another thing that is very foreign to most of our entrepreneurs out there. But most of the Black CEO listeners, they are familiar with it, just don't know how to maximize it and to use it. But I heard you mention it when you were talking to us this morning. So can you speak to that real quick before you get out of here?
Sure. Before I leave, though, I want you to all know, too, that starting December 2nd, I'm going to be starting a new daily radio feature on Radio One. Kathy Hughes called and invited me to be part of the Radio One family. So that should be starting in December. And if you on my newsletter, you'll get where it airs in your market, okay, in your city. That said, podcasting, everybody can do a podcast. Anybody can do a podcast. You can get a microphone. If I had more time, I'd show you the microphone you can buy. I got one over here. You got a computer, you got some headphones, and you can podcast. You put your ideas out 20, 30 minutes and do it once a week or whenever you want to do it, and just post it. And you will be surprised how it can start to draw people to you. It's just new ways. The internet changed the world. It has changed the world. Changed the world and how we buy books. We don't go to Borders no more to go to Amazon, or we download a book. It changed the world how we buy music. We don't get music at a record store anymore. We get it on our phone or our tablet. It changed everything, and it's going to change how you get your message out. Podcast is just one of the new ways to do it. It's messaging, it's marketing, it's media, and it's massive right thinking. You do that, I'll see you at the top. I'll see you walking through an airport. Like I see some of the guys at Del Toro and others who I've taught over the years how to become a speaker. And they'll say, hey, I see you in the airport. We're walking past each other as we're on our way to our planes. I'll see you in the airport. Again, go to WJ speaks.com/gift to get the free gift. If you want my box and the wow box and the tips, then you go to williejolly.com/billionaire, williejolly.com/billionaire. And if you want just to get the basics of speaking, go to youcanspeaknow.com, $99, and it'll get you started, get you growing, at least to make some money so you can go some of the other things. And if you really want to be serious, like I got serious, I had to make a decision. There's a price for success and a cost for not being paying the price. You want to be serious about you and not waste time. Come to the boot camp, November 21st, 22nd, 23rd here in Washington. We got a few slots left, and you go to jollyrichspeaking.com to read about it, or you just simply call my office, say I'm in 202-723-8863. Ask for Cheryl Reagan. Say I am in. I want to be there. I want to be in the number. I'm serious. That's it. So we only got about 60 seconds left. I'm gonna give it to you. If we want a thing bad enough, go out and fight for it. To work day and night for it. To give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and lose all of your terror of the opposition for it, if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold, poverty, famine, nor gout, sickness, nor pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim, then you besiege and beset it with the help of our God, you will surely get it. I dedicate that to my buddy, Les Brown, who closes his speeches with that, from Burton Braley. But Les, that's Les. Y'all pray for Les for his health and for his continuing to be out there. He's my brother. I love him. And I know he's been struggling with health. We had to cancel a couple of events because of his health, but he's back on the scene. Keep praying for him. God bless y'all.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Well, Dr. Jolley, you heard it here, the one, the only Dr. Jolley. So we are so blessed by your presence. And for all of my co-hosts, out to you out there in Black CEO land, I'm going to count to 3, and we're just going to
All right.